Director, Department on Disability Services. As always, we will start with the data. If we could share that screen. Very good. So first, okay, there we go again. First of all, we are actually, there was one more reported last evening, so we're actually at 735 people who have tested positive for COVID-19 since the beginning of the pandemic. In the month of December, there were 2, and in the month of November, 19. We have had a total of 43 people who have tested positive 2 times. And the breakdown of these 43, of the 734 people by placement type is 1 in a correctional facility, 20 in host homes, 133 in intermediate care facilities, 1 in a mental health facility, 160 in natural homes, 2 in a nursing home, 7 in out-of-state placements, 60 in residential habilitation, and 350 in supported living. And unfortunately, in November, we did see once again people who required hospitalization for COVID. There were 2 people hospitalized in the month of November. We have actually had, between November and December, 5 people who were in the hospital, but 3 of them were in the hospital for other reasons, and there's routine testing and learned that they had COVID, but that none of those 3 required inpatient treatment. They were there for, they required inpatient treatment, but for another reason. And we have had 38 people who have had confirmed COVID deaths. The last person confirmed as having died from COVID was in September of 2021. 34 are confirmed as not COVID related. 38 were COVID related, and we still have 9 people with a cause of death pending. Our vaccination rate for people supported is at 88%, with the vaccination booster rate for people supported at 78%. I can provide our staff, the provider staff as of November 16th is 98% and 71% who've received a booster. The DDS staff, we're no longer tracking this. So the most recent data we have is from September, at which time it was 98% of staff who had received a vaccination and 90% with a booster. So we have actually 3 things on our agenda today. First, we're going to hear an update from Wright with the Developmental Disabilities Council regarding the Employment First Summit that occurred. We'll have a brief presentation by Daryl Evans about the district as a model employer efforts that we're engaging in at DDS and in the district government overall. And then we'll have a presentation by Bernitris Parker.
Yes.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Regarding participant-directed services. So I believe that Allison will be sharing her screen so that we can hear about the Employment First Summit.
So good morning, everyone. Not good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kevin. My name is Kevin Wright. I work for the DC Developmental Disability Council. I'm here with Allison White, who's executive director at the DD Council. Just to do like a summary of the Employment First Summit that happened on October the 20th and October the 21st in October. So Employment First Summit overview. So the main purpose of the summit was to celebrate progress, and accomplishments in the employment of people with disabilities. So that was pretty much the true purpose of why Allison and I wanted to, and the DD Council wanted to put on this summit. We wanted to highlight everything that went on for the 10 years, and basically everyone great accomplishments of just helping supporting people with disabilities. Also, the summit was 2 days. So for this summit, it was hybrid. So basically, people had the option to either attend in person or virtual. And people wanted to attend in person. It was at the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Library, both of those days. The dates were for October the 20th. It started from 9 to 5. Then for October the 21st, it was 9 to 3. The target audiences include employers, job seekers, employment professionals, service providers, small business, advocates, teachers, people with disability of all ages, and family members of people with disabilities. I'm now doing the Employment First Planning Committee. I stated that like I wanted to include everyone because I feel that like all of these people are really are the key of supporting people with disabilities, making sure that like they could gain work experience regardless their disability or not. So I wanted to keep this. I wanted to keep this open to everyone. I didn't want to leave anyone out. I want everyone just to like attend it, come there, share success stories, gain resources as needed, and basically and pretty much build the network from there. So basically, it was really important for me just to have these target audiences there, a variety of people. And the summit was held in English, Spanish, Amharic, ASL, and English caption was provided. So for this first annual inaugural Employment First Summit, we wanted to make another like this expression, having the those new languages was important for us, for me honestly. In which I find it to be great where that like we have 3 languages, basically, especially for the flyer that was sending out to folks, just really liking that like it was in 3 languages that like people get to like really attend.
It comes down, it goes there. I'm trying to think of it.
So the lead up, so the DC Developmental Disability Council, they passed their FY 22 and 23 state plan, strongly focused on employment. So basically, it was just organized the Employment First Planning Committee for the summit was the first step in that work. So I was the chairperson of that Employment First Planning Committee. And basically with that, for like 10 months, we were just planning
Tom Brady.
steps. How can we just put on the summit? And the Employment First Planning Committee met twice per month. So it started on January the 4th, and each month we met that twice. And basically it included people with disabilities, family members, and professionals. So that was the planning committee consists of. And as you said here, I was the chairperson of that, and Allison was a co-chairperson. I have the option to do listening tours with 5 groups to get input on what people wanted to learn and experience at the summit. Me doing listening tour was really great because I wanted to get every people reaction of what did they want to what did they want at the summit, because I felt that like basically this is their summit. So this is you all summit, and basically I wanted to make it sure that like everything that y'all wanted to learn or anyone else wanted to learn, I wanted to make it happen in a way. So basically, so that was really what's important for me, is to do listening tours. And Employment First Work Leadership Work Group, a group of 18 DC government entities convened in September of 22 and committed to meet quarterly to keep pushing Employment First forward. So basically, we just met it in September, and we were just talking about the group talking about what they wanted to achieve for this year, for this fiscal year. So with that, we just convened, we introduced ourselves, and basically we just talked through like several things that like we would love to see going forward with the Employment First Summit, well, Employment First Initiative. These is all the listening groups I've done for the listening tours. So I've done a listening tour for the the Community and Provider Forum, Project Action meeting on June 18th of 2022. The secondary transition, community and practice, I done one with them on June the 24th of this year. The Office of Disability Rights, so that is what DD Council, and that's what me, Allison, and other staff worker are pretty much located at. And I was able to do a listening tour with them. It was for our staff. It was for the staff meeting for April the 26th. And then I done one for the DDS transition team meeting on May the 19th. Those meetings was really great. I got some really great feedback for these groups of people about what did they wanted to see at the summit, and basically what did they suggested. So the Employment First Leadership Work Group. So as I said before, the group reconvened back in September, and they agreed to meet quarterly to work on the following: identify outcomes, fucking goals for Employment First in DC, collect and share memorandums of understanding of agreements, that is from MOUs, MIAs, to see how DC government agencies are collaborating and identifying gaps, create a resource where DC government and community members can find programs that support DC residents with disabilities in their careers, identify opportunities for collaborative professional development across DC government agencies working towards Employment First, identify opportunities for collaborative community engagement and public awareness, and the last thing is continue to promote and celebrate the Employment First success of people with disabilities and employers who adopt the Employment First policies and practices. So these are the 6 that the group identified at the September meeting. And we're going to meet next week. So the group going to meet next week, yeah. So they're going to meet next week. So this is just the Employment First by the numbers. So altogether, there was 300 tickets that was available, and 222 people registered for the summit. So that's great. I know that a lot with me, Allison, with this figuring out how many tickets did we want to make open, or who want, or how many people that like we want to see at the summit. I know that Allison suggested that like she wanted to be like a big summit, like she was imagining 300 people, and just seeing 222 people register for the summit out of 300 tickets. So that was great. So that was wonderful in a way. 194 people attended. So basically 120 people attended in person and roughly 74 people attended virtual. So the turnout was really great. And basically we had 17 exhibitors that was there just to like pass out the resources and talk about the company, the agency. Through those 2 days, we had 3 preliminary sessions and 1 listening session. So basically, that listening session came in on the 2nd day of the summer, on the October the 21st. Altogether, there was 15 breakout sessions at the Employment First Summit. And basically, and 9 awards given to recognize Employment First champions, innovative ideas and collaboration. So basically, the Employment First Planning Committee suggested that like we pretty much highlight certain people for the excellencies of as champions, as employment champions over their work over the years. So basically, so awards that like we gave out was 3 category awards. That was the Employment Champion Award, the Innovation Award, and the Collaboration Awards. At the summit, 5 raffle prizes was given. And that was given on the last day, on the 21st. So these is all the topics that was available at the Employment First Summit that like either people who attended online or in person had that pretty much chose from. All of these is pretty much focused on like different topics that like for the listeners tours that people suggested that they wanted to hear. And basically, so along with the Employment First Planning Committee, we suggested a few topics that would be really great for the audiences to hear. Also, I also done the session for the people playing together that talk about peer-to-peer group. So that was one of the one of the topics that people had the options to choose from. And basically, so these is all the options. That is the credit scam and fraud. Customized employment was a really highlight that people wanted to see at the Employment First Summit when I did this listening tours. So basically, so that was the topic, and that was also a preliminary session. The DC government hiring, DC learners and earners outcomes, that was also a preliminary session. Job corps, entrepreneurship, Social Security benefits, transportation, video resumes, etc. So this is just the feedback. So overall, most people who complete a survey or gave feedback to Employment First Committee, the planning committee members said they was really satisfied with the event, with the summit. So that's really great to hear. I know that I basically at the summit for 2 days, we had some technical difficulties. I know that like basically some sessions didn't start on time, but when they started, I heard from people at the summit that like all the sessions was phenomenal. So that's really great, and I'm really happy about that. I know that like in this post-pandemic stage, I know that like doing like a hybrid event could be really hard to accomplish, but just knowing that like this was like the first hybrid event that we was able to do in this post-pandemic, and it went well. It was really great to hear. Participants reported learning a lot from breakout and preliminary sessions. So everyone who went to a breakout sessions loved the information that was given and the preliminary sessions that was given. Many attendees risked there was more disability service providers and employers present. So on the 2nd day, we did the listening tour. One question, we had it open. It was like an open mic, and people get to express anything that like they wanted to express. And several people stated that like they wish that like more providers was there, so that like basically it would have been wonderful for them just to gain information, make that network, and share successes with everyone who attended, either in person or virtually. So basically, so that was pretty much was like a drawback. Not enough providers at the summit or employees presented. But basically, and also challenges were showing consistent and high quality language and disability across in a hybrid model. So as I said before, we did went into some challenges, but basically I know that that was our also challenge for those 2 days at the Plumbing First Summit. But basically, all of these is pretty much lessons and learns, and basically all of these is those two bullets. Basically, it just basically the next steps, how can we make it better if it was to put on a similar event for next year in a way. Everyone said that the food was good. I know that for both days, we had catering. I know that for one on that Thursday, we had a special catering for the award ceremony, and basically and breakfast and lunch were provided too. On the second day in those 2 days, but everyone said that the food was really great. For the Plumbing First Planning Committee and Summit, participants expressing admiration for my leadership, hard working skills. The reason why that was really the reason why I love that in a way, because I know that this was the first time of me doing something like this, me chairing and planning committee. I never done that before. I know that during my times at DDS, where I was a worker, basically I never was in those sort of shoes where I had pretty much chair a planning committee. So this was really first for me in a way. And basically just knowing that the planning committee loved my leadership, loved the meetings that we done for twice a month. And basically just representing people with disabilities in this leadership is important. I know that myself being a person with a disability, be able just to chair a planning committee, it's really great in a way. It's a really great experience in a way, and I liked it in a way. And basically, and people said it that I done a wonderful job at it. Even people who attended for the summit said that the event was really great in a way. So it made me happy. I really liked it there. And the listening session was important to springboard us into next steps. We could keep this work going. So the listening session was, I know that before, we wanted that second day just to focus heavily on strategic planning. But basically at the end, we focus on a listening session of what kind of next steps that are highly important that we could commit for in this year of what can we take just to ensure that we keep the Plumbing First initiative moving forward. So this is the next steps. So I'm going to help support the quarterly meetings and actions of the Plumbing First leadership work group. Basically, I think that that is really important for me just to help support. I know that my role as a DDC staff member, my work was heavily focused on the employment aspect of the state plan for last year. So basically, so I was going to keep that work on continuing by me just supporting still the work group for the Plumbing First leadership. We convened the Plumbing First Planning Committee to plan activities for 2023 activities. Possible activities include another large event like a summit, series of smaller activities that target specific groups like job seekers, family members of people with disabilities, employers and service providers, and advocacy for a DC government hiring program for people with disabilities. So basically, starting like I would say starting like next month or starting next year in January, I was going so the planning committee is I'm going to be I was going to start that up again and basically trying to plan for like smaller activities where like it can help us with identifying the people that we couldn't reach to attend for the summit, especially for service providers. Probably doing like little mini activities surrounding service providers, where they're like basically if it was to do an event, that they can start getting the information sooner so that like they can have them on the calendars in a way. So these are breeze months or the pre-months, the heavy first steps, the next steps. So I pretty much have a question for you all. So as you know, on the survey, people stated that like service providers wasn't it wasn't a no-show at the summit. So this is just like two questions I have for you all. The first question is, what are some creative ways to engage more disability service providers and direct supports professionals in this work? So that's the first question. And the second question is, what are the most interested in when it comes to making DC the best place for people with disabilities to get and keep good jobs? So these are just two questions that I have for you all. Basically, we could take like a few minutes. Or basically, you could just put your little answers into the chat. And I could just monitor that. It's important for me just to answer these questions because I know that like myself, I know that like with my employee journey, it's like a really great story in a way, but I don't want my employment story to be the only spotlight in a way. And I know that like people around DC who has disabilities has doing such amazing work, even advocating, doing internships, volunteering, and etc. And I want to highlight them in a way because I feel that that's important, especially for the work that we're doing. It's important just to highlight as many people as possible in a way. So that's why the second question comes up. And the first question, basically just making sure that like for like any events that is put on for the future, that like we can have those providers at the front line where they're like basically where they could be at the summit or where they could be at the events where they're like basically so they can share, even present, network, and etc.
Great. Thank you very much, Kevin. And I see that Allison put the questions in the chat so people could respond there. But I wonder, Kevin, if you could also put your email address in the chat so that if people
email right here, but I put it in the chat.
So if people, you know, when they think about this later, have some additional feedback, they could email it to Kevin because, as he says, this is ongoing work for him. And so, you know, providing him this, and I do want to second what you had said before about the tremendous work that you and your committee did in putting that event together. I know how much work it is to organize a conference, and you really did a fantastic job. So congratulations on that. It was great to see. And I do see one comment here, which is employers need to hear from other employers about the value of hiring people with disabilities and how to successfully accommodate disability needs. The other thing I want to comment on, Kevin, is that a week after the Employment First Summit, you were then the person at the Mayor's Disability Expo who introduced the mayor who spoke at the Disability Expo. which was great. And this is also a nice segue into our next little section of today's meeting. When the mayor spoke, she directly referenced her commitment to making sure that DC is hiring people with disabilities at all level of district government. And in fact, she and I had met just a few weeks before, and one of the issues she raised was, what can we do to improve our outcomes in hiring people at all levels of district government who are people with disabilities? And so, you know, as people think about how to improve that, please push those suggestions forward, because we do have DDS and a city that is committed to making this happen. So if there are no questions for Kevin, Daryl Evans, the deputy for RSA at DDS, is going to provide a brief overview of some efforts that we're beginning to have some programming to establish the district, or to continue our efforts for the district to become a model employer for people with disabilities.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Director Reese. And I would just say thank you, Kevin and Director Reese, for kind of teeing up my small portion of today's presentation. Again, as Director Reese alluded to, at the Mayor's Disability Expo, Mayor Bowser once again expressed her commitment to ensuring that the district government hires people with disabilities at all levels of government and really be a leader in this effort. Here at DDS, we are looking at some internal processes to stimulate hiring opportunities in our agencies for persons with disabilities, looking to RSA as a real resource. We're going to try to pilot something here in the near future and then evaluate that here at DDS. And if we can get some good results and traction, we will then take that out to the broader DC government agencies and start incorporating the same type of programming. Also here at DCS, we are currently evaluating a position that we had with DCHR. We had an MOU with DCHR to help DC governments become a model employer for people with disabilities. And so we are reevaluating that to make sure that we have all of the right components, the engagements, and the staff at the table to make this a reality. You know, it's paramount on my plate of things that Director Reese expects for us to get done in RSA. And so these are some of the things that we're really looking at in-house to make happen, so people with disabilities are engaged at all levels of government hiring as well as communal hiring. So those are the things that we're looking at currently. And then I also sit on the Workforce Investment Council, and as part of the mayor's employment initiatives, we have formed a committee to look at and create initiatives to ensure people who are unserved, underserved, disabled youth, and returning citizens are being included in all the hiring opportunities, including internships, apprenticeships, all of the job fairs. Additionally, we're looking to ensure all of the partners are working together to meet the WIOA expectations, which have some direct impact and really some metrics that we need to meet back to the Department of Education and the city that really speak to how we are doing with longevity for folks with disabilities being hired and being in sustained employment. And then I would also caveat that where we said the employment first, we did brush that back off, and we have the leadership team back together meeting. We had a good first meeting, really had a nice partnership of government agencies at the table, learned some new things. And one of the things that I've asked, you know, Kevin kind of outlined what the initiatives are, but one of the things that I've asked of that committee is to make something measurable. So all of the work is nice, but we need to be able at the end of this to tell the story about how all of the initiatives led to success stories of people getting employment. that really is the bottom line. That's where we're going to focus our efforts. It's nice that we've done the academic work. It's nice that we've had, the mayor sign off on a proclamation, but the real success in my eyes is real employment. And so that's where we're going to focus our attention. So if you have any questions for me, please reach out. I can certainly put my email in the chat. I'm always available by phone. If you want to engage with Director Reese, he certainly will follow up with me, and I'd be glad to entertain ideas and further conversate about this. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Daryl. And I do want to point out, I just want to confirm with Charlisa that you'll be printing out the chat from this meeting, because we are getting some really good suggestions from folks in the chat. So thank you to people who are providing the suggestions in the chat for Kevin and Daryl as we try to improve our efforts here in the district around employment for people with disabilities. So next up, we will have a presentation by Bernitris Parker, who's our waiver specialist here at DDS regarding participant-directed services.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. As Andy said, my name is Bernitris Parker. I'm the Medicaid Waiver Program Specialist here at DDS. We're going to talk about our new service of participant-directed services, which is in our My Life, My Way program, which is a program specifically in our individual and family supports waiver amendment. So this new service, we anticipate that it will be available to participants January 2023. However, this is pending Department of Healthcare Finance contractual finalization with the vendor, who will be working closely with participants in DDS to manage and monitor those services. Participant-directed services is offered to DC residents who are enrolled only in the IFS waiver who live in their natural homes with a family member or friend. They'll have more choice and control and flexibility over the services they receive as alternative delivery model to traditional delivered service, such as an agency delivery model through provider agencies, for an example. So participants or their authorized representative, if applicable, have decision-making authority over certain services and take direct responsibility to manage those services with assistance from assistance of a system of available supports. PDS will allow participants to have the responsibility for managing all aspects of their service delivery in a person-centered planning process. Services that are available through PDS include in-home supports, individualized day supports one-to-one, companion one-to-one services, respite daily, which is out of the home, and a new service that's included in PDS is individual directed goods and services. IDGS, individual directed goods and services, just know I'll be referring to that because that's a mouthful, are services, equipment, or supplies not otherwise provided through the IFS waiver or the Medicaid state plan. And these services relate to needs or goals identified in the person-centered individual support plan, which is our ISP. They maintain or increase independence, and they promote opportunities for community living and inclusion. IDGS are only available if the individual does not otherwise have the funds to purchase a good or service, or is not available through another source. IDGS are purchased from their participant-directed budget. The limit for IDGS is $2,500 per year from the total PDS budget of $75,000. So if a person decides to select IDGS, their remaining PDS budget would be $72,500. This service, again, is only available to waiver participants enrolled in participant-directed services. The allowable goods and services for IDGS include fitness memberships. And I can see that you guys can see it through the screen, so I won't read every one. Weight loss programs that doesn't include food, therapeutic swimming or horseback riding, fees for activities for community integration, and a great one is fingerprinting, drug testing costs needed for the person to be considered for a job, but that's not otherwise covered. More services include cleaning services from firms or individuals to clean the person's personal areas within their home, food prep services, non-post-secondary educational classes, and a garage door opener for the home. Also small electric appliances, laundry services, and funding up to $500 for participants who may choose to support their staff recruitment and advertisement efforts, such as developing and printing flyers and using staffing registers. If a person will be interested in self-direction services, they will want more flexibility with their services on their own or with help. They are ready to make decisions about their services on their own or with help, or they want to take more responsibility for managing their services. They can choose self-direction if they would like to live in their home, work, volunteer, or do activities that they enjoy, have relationships with family and friends, and be healthy. I do want to note here that people who are in the IFS waiver and elect to participate in the PDS program, they may choose traditional waiver services simultaneously, but they cannot self-direct the same service. For instance, if they choose to receive in-home supports through PDS, they cannot have traditional in-home support services through a provider agency. How does PDS work? If a person is interested, they should talk to their service coordinator to learn about the My Life, My Way program and their role and their responsibilities. By making an informed choice, the service coordinator will provide this information to the person, family, or authorized representative to assist with making an informed choice between PDS or traditional waiver services. Then the program coordinator will also be notified and provide a copy of the person's ISP to receive PDS services. If they confirm they want to enroll in the My Life, My Way program, the ISP is developed to reflect the person's choice to participate in PDS. The participant consent form is complete among many other PDS documents and submitted to the support broker, which I will explain further along the slides. And the DDS freedom of choice and choice of provider forms are completed and uploaded to the ISP, which have been revised to include PDS. Also within PDS, it's a requirement to develop an initial emergency backup plan. This plan will work with the person, the service coordinator will work with the person or their authorized representative to develop the emergency backup plan. One or more emergency backup staff, either paid a participant director worker, which we refer to as PDWs, the natural supports, or both, will be required for times when the regularly scheduled PDW does not report to work for any reason. Ongoing monitoring supports provided by the service coordinator for people enrolled in PDS includes to conduct quarterly monitoring visits, to assess the participant satisfaction with services and address any issues or concerns. They'll review progress reports to ensure that services and supports are in alignment with the person's outcomes. They will facilitate team meetings to address concerns identified during quarterly monitorings or to review changes in the person's status that require change in the waiver service or transition from the IFS waiver. Service coordinators will also update the level of need assessment in response to significant changes in the person's status and amend the ISP as needed to reflect changes in services and supports. So the support broker helps the person to build a participant-directed budget. The budget is developed based upon services and supports the person chooses. They decide how to spend their budget with assistance from the support broker. The person receives orientation and training on using PDS and being the employer of their participant-directed staff, which again we refer to as PDWs. The person or their authorized representative with the circle of support purchase approved IDGS related to their needs. And this also includes hiring, training, and managing their PDWs. The support broker will issue payroll and payments for their approved budget and provide other supports to include making any needed changes to their budget plan. The circle of supports includes the family, close friends, the service coordinator, the My Life, My Way program coordinator, support broker, and staff who know the persons well in which they choose. The service coordinator will continue to work with the person on their ISP, and the support broker will help the person complete all the PDS enrollment documents. So the PDS budget allows them to choose the services that best suit their needs. The budget is capped upon the IFS waiver maximum cost allowance of $75,000. Participants and their authorized representative, as applicable, decide how much to pay their PDWs. The total cost of wages and related employer portion of employment taxes cannot exceed the total amount of their PDS budget. The wage rate that the participants decide to pay their PDW must be within the wage range established by the Department of Healthcare Finance. The wage range is from the current District of Columbia living wage up to the current rate paid to traditional home health agencies for personal care aid services. Participants will have a vendor fiscal employer agent, financial management services support broker, which is the same entity, who oversees their budget, pays their staff and other approved items in their budget, and are responsible for a variety of human resources needs. It also should be noted that within PDS, the electronic visit verification must be completed by the PDW for in-home support services. So participants can voluntarily terminate from the My Life, My Way program at any time with the assistance of the support broker and the program coordinator. Participants can be involuntarily terminated from the My Life, My Way program in cases of fraudulent use of Medicaid funds and non-compliance. And this non-compliance normally comes with if the PDW is not adhering to the contract, to the agreement, and if the PDW is not being managed well by the participant. The service coordinator will work with participants to transition to traditional services when terminated from the My Life, My Way program. DDS has also developed a fact sheet for PDS, again, which we call the My Life, My Way program. It is uploaded to DDS website. The following link that you see is the page in which you can find this fact sheet. And it provides information for persons supported or family members about PDS and how you can find out more information about it if you're interested in enrollment. If you guys have any questions, you can feel free to contact Pamela Harmon, which is the Supervisory Medicaid Waiver Specialist here at DDS, or Musu Fafana, who is the Program Manager of the Service Planning Coordination Division. You can feel free to put any questions in the chat if you have any questions regarding this presentation and PDS services in general.
One of the first questions I see is, will we get these slides? Yes, whenever we have a presentation, we always ask for the slides to be provided, and they are posted on our website.
Will a person get employment services through a provider and self-direct in-home support? How would that budget work? So it seems like Robin.
Actually, can you just, you read the question. I want to make sure people could hear
Okay,
the question.
I'm sorry.
So there was a question here, can a person get employment services through a provider and self-direct in-home supports? How would the budgeting work for that?
Yes. So that is a typical situation of a person choosing to do traditional employment services through the waiver, and then someone choosing to self-direct in-home supports. That is allowable. However, the services of traditional services and PDS still cannot exceed that $75,000. So the person's service coordinator and support broker and the program coordinator here at DDS will be looking at the budget to make sure in the planning phase that how many hours that they need for the employment services and in-home supports do not exceed the cap.
Who completes the progress reports under PDS?
So the participant directed worker is responsible for doing notes, and the support broker entity will make sure that those progress reports are provided to DDS. I'm sorry, read slower, please. I'm sorry, I do talk fast, my apology. I'm sorry.
So I just wanted to make one more comment about the January start date. This, the EPD waiver has had self-direction for some time. A DHCF has just issued or is in the process of finalizing an agreement with a new provider who will be starting in January. And so we'll be working with them. We are included in that agreement and we'll be working with them to sort of onboard with that new provider. And so January feels ambitious to me, and to the extent it's January, we're talking end of January. DHCF was able to do a letter contract to continue the existing services that they had until the new provider gets up and running in January. We actually are working with and met this week with a consultant who's helping us to launch and get everything ready to go for PDS. But when we say January, as I say, we would be talking end of January, you know, like February something. However, anyone interested should speak with their service coordinator. There's a big service coordination meeting in a little more than a week, and they'll be getting all the information they need to be able to respond to any questions people have. So people who are in the IFS waiver or others who may wish to switch to the IFS waiver to take advantage of self-direction could ask their service coordinator those questions.
And I just would like to add that I really think that it is very informative for everyone to check out that My Life, My Way fact sheet, because it goes into a little bit more detail of who can be the PDW as well.
Can we share the link to the fact sheet?
Yes.
Yes. Are you logged in?
I'm
Okay,
gonna have to email that to you.
we'll share that in just a moment. Oh, I think I can do that here.
Yeah,
Now
copy
that
and
I'm not
paste.
sharing the slides anymore, I can copy and paste from the
It's
slide.
slide 18 or something. Oh, this go, yeah. 19 maybe then. Yep, right there. That's the link.
Oh, that's it right there, right?
Mhm. It was right up top, My Life, My Way.
That's the link to the waiver information, and the PDS is the first link on the page.
Yes.
How will PCR be conducted for this type of service?
So PCR is typically for providers. Self-direction services are not provided by providers. The person is the employer. I just want to reiterate and clarify, just in case there's any confusion. Participant directed services is a service within the IFS waiver. Even with someone choosing specifically only PDS services in the IFS waiver, that $75,000 cap still applies. If a person chooses to be in the IFS waiver and is choosing PDS services, which means they can have traditional services and services that can be self-directed, that budget is still $75,000.
So our next forum will be in January, on January the 27th. Our next forum planning meeting, which I'm noticing I have not sent out invitations for, and I will right after this meeting, is on January the 13th. If people have suggestions of topics that they would like to hear about, please email those to me. And then we can, at our planning meeting, we can plan for addressing issues that you are interested in. So as I say, if you're interested, our next planning meeting is on the 13th of January. So if there are topics you'd like to hear about, you can email me prior to that date, and I'll make sure that the planning group considers those suggestions. Other than that, if there are no other questions, hope everyone has a wonderful New Year's and any holidays you may be celebrating upcoming. And we look forward to getting back together with everyone on January the 27th.